Let's bring in Rami Khouri, a distinguished public policy fellow at the American University of Beirut. He joins me now live from Boston. Good evening, sir. Quite a dramatic update here from the U.S. president. What's your take on the U.S. now deciding on joining the Israeli war on Iran and going in and bombing 3 sites in Iran?
Well, this is a major escalation with huge implications that will become clear in the next few days. The Iranians have been expecting this, and they've been telling the world that they're going to take serious retaliatory action, close the Straits of Hormuz. They'll be attacking American military bases all across the Middle East. They'll be attacking ships and planes that bring supplies to Israel. And these are things that they've announced already, and who knows what else is going to happen. But this is a really serious escalation without any guarantee that it will achieve its goals. It will probably set back the ability of Iran to keep developing its nuclear facilities, the centrifuges particularly that enrich the uranium. The Iranians have always insisted, and this has been supported by people all over the world, including the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency, that Iran is not working on creating a nuclear bomb. Netanyahu and Trump insist that it is, and therefore they've launched this latest round of this war. But this is very serious. It's likely to have huge implications on the region in terms of attacks against various sites. It's possible that the Iranians might retaliate against some of the energy facilities in neighboring countries, but probably not, because the Saudis have led a serious program of rapprochement with Iran over the last 2 years. So the Iranians will probably focus on American targets, Israeli targets, and hurting the whole world by closing the Straits of Hormuz. If they can do that, we'll have to see. Obviously, the Israelis and the Americans and others have taken precautions to try to prevent that from happening. But if it does happen, it's a big hit to the global economy, and we can have all kinds of serious implications, including inside the U.S., where there is a division even among the Republican Party about the wisdom of this move. The public opinion in the U.S. is very clearly against military action by the U.S. directly against Iran. About 69% in the latest credible polls say that the diplomacy should resolve this problem. And diplomacy did resolve it once, until the Americans pulled out, when Trump pulled out of the JCPOA accord a few years ago. So there's just too many possibilities that could happen. All of them are pretty bad. And we'll just have to take it a day at a time, see what happens. My guess is you'll get some pretty quick reactions from the Iranians within the next 2 days or so.
Now, Donald Trump on Truth Social, he also says that Iran must now agree to end this war. The fact that Donald Trump puts sort of the ball in Iran's court, he's asking Iran to agree to end the war, even though it was in fact Israel that started bombing Iran, and Iran says that their nuclear program is only for peaceful and civilian purposes. In what way is Iran supposed to agree to end the war, do you think?
In the fantasies of Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, mainly, the Iranians have not only stated over and over and over again that they will not, surrender and end this situation. The Israelis started it; the Americans have accelerated it. Not only have the Iranians made it clear that they will defend themselves and their right to have a nuclear industry for peaceful purposes, which is internationally monitored. They've said this and done it. So the Iranian position is very clear. The problem is really in the perception of Benjamin Netanyahu and the limited ability of Donald Trump to understand what's really going on in the region. Second of all, the Iranians for a century have fought off and resisted blows from imperial powers or aggression from imperial powers, economic, political, military aggression. The Russians the British early in the last century. Then the Americans and the British when they overthrew Mossadegh in 1953. The Iraqi attacks in 1980 against Iran, which were supported by the U.S. There's been many examples where Iran has been attacked and threatened and fought back and resisted, paid a heavy price. Nobody likes warfare, but nobody likes to be subjugated either. So there's no doubt that there will be serious responses from the Iranians. The idea that Netanyahu and Trump have that this attack will create great anger among the Iranian people who will turn against their government and try to overthrow the government. This is unlikely to happen. It's wishful thinking. They've said this many times, and it's never happened in the past. The deeper problem here is that the Israelis, despite their good intelligence, and the Americans, despite their massive capabilities, simply do not understand how the mind and the heart and the soul and the spirit of people in the Middle East, in the Arab and Islamic Middle East, how these operate. Arab countries, Iran, Turkey, the US and Israel simply don't understand that they cannot use their military force only to threaten and subjugate people, and then, as Trump's is now doing, asking them to surrender. And this policy has been tried over and over again by the Americans, by the Israelis regionally, the Americans globally in Vietnam and Afghanistan and other places. And every time the U.S. used its military force in the global south, at least in this area, it has created way more problems down the road. So this is really a very foolish and dangerous move by the United States, but it's happened because the leadership in the United States, which is essentially Donald Trump by himself, has not taken advantage of the knowledge that exists in the United States, in the government, in the intelligence agencies, in the military, in academia, and civil society. There's immense knowledge of Iran in the United States, but it's not tapped by the Trump administration. They're relying on a few people, the CENTCOM commander, General Michael Kurilla, the CIA director, John Ratcliffe, and a few others who are very, very close to the Israelis and have been described as assets of Israeli intelligence by some people. And Trump is not listening to voices in the government that are saying, this is dangerous, it's not going to work, it's going to lead to greater problems, a global economic crisis perhaps, who knows? So this is really, I think we have two problems here. We have the problem of runaway Israeli militarism, and we have the problem of an American democratic system that is not functioning as it used to, with checks and balances and compromises among the different political forces in the U.S. We have a runaway president who likes military parades, who's an egomaniac, who likes to show that he's tough, and he keeps saying and doing outrageous things. This is the most outrageous thing that he's done, and it's going to lead to bigger problems down the road for many people, Arabs, Iranians, Israelis, Americans, and other countries around the world too.
Do you think other countries are now going to join the conflict on either side? For example, Russia having signed this military cooperation agreement with Iran. I mean, will Russia start to engage militarily now, or do you think other Arab countries will also join the fight now on the other side?
No, I don't think they'll be directly involved, even though they are all the Russians, the Chinese, the Americans, the Turks, everybody is against what Israel is doing and is against what the United States has just done. And the U.S. may escalate its attacks. The U.S. may send in special forces to carry out sabotage. Who knows? But I don't think these other big powers, regional powers, or Arab countries are going to directly join the fighting. What they will do is see how they can support Iran if Iran needs some specific support, without doing the fighting themselves. And they'll also try to vastly expand their diplomatic efforts, which haven't reached anywhere yet, even though people have keep trying. So this is essentially a three-player contest between Israel and the US on one side and Iran on the other, similar to what it was in 1953 when England and the US overthrew the elected democratic government in Iran, or in 1956 when France and England and Israel attacked Egypt to eventually overthrow Jamal Abdel Nasser. These actors themselves are going to determine the fate of this situation. And Iran is a country of substance, deep identity, and very sophisticated technical capabilities, which the U.S. has not faced in any other foe in the Middle East or even elsewhere, I would say, around the region or the world. That the Iranians have very significant capabilities in technology and armaments and other areas, and we'll find out soon exactly what they can do. If it turns out that they can't do anything, if their air defense system is destroyed, if their nuclear research facilities are destroyed, if their command structure is decimated, and they just can't fight back in any serious way, then this is going to lead to a whole new situation, which cannot possibly be predicted in terms of what would that lead to. But I don't think you're going to get any kind of surrender from Iran. And if there is a short-term setback, you're going to find all kinds of new forms of resistance and attacks, counterattacks by the Iranians. And I would look for them in different arenas and different categories. So it's not just missiles and drones and bombs. You have to look at cybersecurity, the world's financial system, infrastructure all around the region. The Iranian situation is difficult because they don't want to hit back at Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates and Qatar and Kuwait, the Arab Gulf countries, just to be vengeful, because they're not directly involved in this. And Iranian-Arab Gulf relations have really improved over the last 2 years to the benefit of both sides. So they're going to focus their counterattacks on Israel and the United States and people who are involved in this process. You might find them attacking commercial facilities, some of the arms manufacturers, maybe some of the technology companies. I mean, I don't know how they're planning, but you can be sure they're planning a series of counterattacks against a series of different targets. And we will probably find out a lot about this in the next couple of weeks or so.
Yeah, most likely. Rami Khouri from the American University of Beirut, thank you so much for taking the time to join us here on TRT World on this dramatic evening.
Thank you.